Let me ask you something. How many times have you promised yourself you'd change? That you'd wake up earlier, work harder, hit the gym, or finally chase that dream, only to fall back into the same old habits? You know what hurts more than failure? Knowing you never even gave it your all. That feeling, that voice in the back of your head saying, you could have done more, you could have been more. It's time to silence that voice. It's time to stop breaking promises to yourself. It's time to stop letting yourself down. Rule 1, the truth hurts, but it will set you free. Most of us live our lives with a certain level of denial, masking the real reasons behind our struggles and setbacks. We tell ourselves stories to protect our egos, to shield ourselves from the uncomfortable truths about our own actions, decisions, and habits. We hide behind excuses. I don't have enough time. I wasn't lucky enough. I'll do it later. We believe these stories because they make us feel better, even though deep down, we know they aren't true. The hardest thing to do is look at the reality of your situation without flinching. To truly admit that the reason you're stuck isn't because of outside forces, but because of you. That the habits, the lack of discipline, the procrastination, and the excuses all come from within. But this is the moment of power, the moment when everything changes. When you face the truth, it's not easy. It hurts. It's uncomfortable. It forces you to confront your failures, your weaknesses, and the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. The truth doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't sugarcoat anything. It's raw, it's blunt, and it's often painful. But here's the thing. This pain is necessary for growth. The discomfort you feel in this moment is the same discomfort you'll feel if you continue to lie to yourself, continue to stay stuck in the same cycle, and continue to let opportunities slip away. Staying in denial only prolongs your suffering. The longer you avoid the truth, the harder it becomes to change. When you finally acknowledge the truth about where you are and what you've been doing or not doing, it's like waking up from a dream. You see your life for what it truly is, not through the lens of what you want it to be or what you think it should be. You see your habits, your mindset, and your actions with full clarity. This awakening is freeing because it opens the door to real change. Until you admit the truth, you're trapped in a cycle of self-deception. You keep hoping for things to improve without ever taking responsibility for making them better. But once you accept that you've been the one standing in your own way, you can finally take control. You stop waiting for something outside of yourself to change, and instead you start making the changes necessary within. This realization, this truth will set you free, but only if you face it head on, because freedom doesn't come from avoiding pain or discomfort. It comes from embracing it, learning from it, and taking action in spite of it. The truth hurts, yes, but it also empowers you to break free from your limitations and take ownership of your future. Only then can you start the real work of transformation. Rule 2, break the cycle of self-sabotage. There's nothing more frustrating than watching yourself repeat the same mistakes over and over again, knowing deep down that you're capable of more. You set goals, you start strong, and for a moment it feels like this time will be different. But then something happens. Maybe you get distracted. Maybe you convince yourself you don't have enough time. Maybe you start doubting whether you can actually pull it off. So you slow down, you procrastinate, you find reasons to justify putting things off. And before you know it, you're right back where you started, frustrated, disappointed, and wondering why you can't break free from this endless loop. This is self-sabotage, and it's one of the most destructive forces in your life. It's not something that happens randomly. It's a pattern, a deeply ingrained habit that plays out every time you get close to progress. It's the voice in your head telling you that you're not ready yet. It's the old fear whispering that failure is inevitable. It's the subconscious belief that you don't really deserve success, so you find a way to stop yourself before you get too close. The worst part is that most people don't even realize they're doing it. They blame external circumstances. They convince themselves that life got in the way. But in reality, the biggest obstacle is always internal. It's the part of you that's afraid of change, even if that change is good for you. It's the part of you that is comfortable with struggle because struggle is familiar. Even misery can feel safe when it's all you've ever known. Self-sabotage isn't about a lack of ability. It's about a lack of belief. You might think you want success, but if deep down you believe that success comes with too much responsibility, too much pressure, or too much risk, then you will unconsciously find ways to destroy your own progress. You'll make decisions that pull you further from your goals. You'll create distractions to avoid the real work. You'll come up with excuses that feel logical in the moment, but are really just carefully disguised forms of fear. The cycle continues because it's comfortable. Failing on your own terms feels safer than trying your hardest and still falling short. So you protect yourself by never fully committing. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You avoid situations where you might be judged. You stay within your comfort zone even though deep down you know that's the very thing holding you back. Breaking the cycle isn't about motivation, it's about awareness. You have to recognize the patterns that are keeping you stuck. You have to be brutally honest about the ways you've been standing in your own way. You have to stop letting temporary emotions dictate long-term decisions. Because as long as you keep giving in to fear, as long as you keep listening to the part of you that wants to stay small, you will continue repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Rule 3, raise your standards. Everything in your life right now, your health, your finances, your relationships, your level of success, is a direct reflection of what you have decided to tolerate. Whether you realize it or not, you have set a standard for yourself in every area of your life, and that standard dictates your actions, your mindset, and ultimately your results. Most people don't consciously set their standards. They simply accept what feels normal, what feels comfortable, what society, family, or past experiences have conditioned them to believe is possible for them. But what if that normal is keeping you stuck? Look at your habits. Look at the way you handle adversity. Look at the way you talk to yourself when no one else is around. These are all reflections of your standards. If you allow yourself to hit the snooze button every morning, that's a standard. If you accept mediocre effort in your work, that's a standard. If you allow toxic relationships to drain your energy, that's a standard. And the harsh truth is, if you don't intentionally raise your standards, life will always give you what you're willing to put up with. People often wonder why they can't break through to the next level in life. They set goals, they make plans, they say they want to be successful, but they never change what they demand from themselves on a daily basis. They keep acting like the same person, thinking like the same person, surrounding themselves with the same influences, and expecting different results. But nothing changes until your standards change. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who just refuses to accept anything less than excellence? Someone who demands more from themselves no matter what life throws at them? These people don't have superpowers. They have standards that are non-negotiable. They don't try to be disciplined. They just are. They don't hope to be successful. They expect it. They don't wait for motivation. They show up and do the work because they've made it a requirement, not an option. When you raise your standards, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop making excuses. You stop settling for good enough. You no longer allow laziness, procrastination, or fear to dictate your decisions. You demand more from yourself, and because of that, life gives you more in return. Most people set low standards because they're afraid of failing. They think, if I don't expect too much, I won't be disappointed. But that kind of thinking is exactly why they stay stuck. The truth is, your standards determine your identity. When you expect more from yourself, you start seeing yourself differently. You stop identifying as someone who struggles, someone who's unlucky, someone who's just trying to get by. You start seeing yourself as someone who takes control, someone who makes things happen, someone who refuses to accept anything less than the best version of themselves. Look at the areas in your life where you feel stuck, frustrated, or unfulfilled. That's where you need to raise your standards. The moment you make the decision that you will no longer accept anything less than your best, that is the moment everything begins to shift. Rule 4, your mind is your prison or your power. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. It can either be the force that propels you forward or the cage that keeps you trapped. Every single thought you entertain, every belief you hold on to, and every story you tell yourself is shaping your reality, whether you realize it or not. Your mind is constantly constructing the world you live in. If you fill it with fear, doubt, and excuses, then your world will reflect that back to you. If you program it with confidence, resilience, and the expectation of success, then your actions will align with that and your reality will shift. Most people don't even recognize that they're living in a mental prison. They think their limitations are real. They think their struggles define them. But in reality, the only thing keeping them stuck is their own perception. It's not the lack of resources, not the circumstances, not the people around them. It's the way they think about those things that determines whether they stay trapped or break free. Think about it. How many times have you talked yourself out of an opportunity before even trying? How many times have you allowed self-doubt to hold you back from something you knew deep down you wanted? How many times have you told yourself, I'm just not that kind of person, or I'm not good enough, or it's too late for me? Every single one of those thoughts is a chain keeping you locked in a small, confined version of your potential. Your mind is constantly shaping your reality based on what you feed it. If you repeatedly tell yourself that success is for other people, that you weren't meant for greatness, that life is unfair and out of your control, then your mind will create a world where all of that is true. Your actions will follow those beliefs. You won't take risks, you won't put in the work, and you won't chase opportunities because in your mind, what's the point? You've already convinced yourself that failure is inevitable. But the opposite is also true. The people who achieve great things, the ones who break through obstacles and create incredible lives, don't have some magic ability that others don't. They've simply conditioned their minds to work for them, not against them. They've trained themselves to believe in possibility rather than limitation. When they face setbacks, they don't see them as stop signs. They see them as lessons, as stepping stones to something greater. They don't allow their fears to dictate their actions because they've programmed themselves to push forward despite fear. Your mind is either going to be your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy, and the choice is yours. The thoughts you allow to take root will shape your actions, and your actions will determine the life you build. If you constantly entertain thoughts of failure, rejection, and helplessness, then your life will mirror those beliefs. But if you fill your mind with certainty, with belief in yourself, and with the expectation of success, you will start taking the kind of action that makes those things a reality. Most people never realize how much control they actually have. They let their minds run on autopilot, filled with years of conditioning, limiting beliefs, and negative programming. They never take the time to rewire their thoughts to consciously decide how they want to see the world. And because of that, they stay trapped. They live inside a mental prison of their own making, never realizing that the key to breaking free has been in their hands all along. Rule 5. Decisions shape your future. Every moment of your life is the result of a decision you made. Where you live, what you do, who you spend time with, how much money you have, the way you feel about yourself, it all comes down to the choices you've made, whether consciously or unconsciously. Most people don't realize the power of their decisions because they focus on circumstances. They blame their past, their upbringing, the economy, their boss, their family, anything but themselves. But the truth is, where you are today is a direct reflection of the decisions you've made up to this point. Some decisions are big, life-changing choices like deciding to move to a new city, start a business, or end a toxic relationship. But most decisions are small, seemingly insignificant choices that add up over time. The decision to wake up early or hit snooze. The decision to eat healthy or grab fast food. The decision to spend an hour learning something new or waste it scrolling through social media. These choices may seem minor in the moment, but they compound. Over time, they either push you forward or pull you further away from the life you want. People often wait for life to change on its own, thinking that one day the right opportunity will just fall into their lap. But life doesn't work like that. It responds to the choices you make. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, every time you let fear dictate your actions, every time you settle instead of striving for more, you are shaping your future in ways you don't even realize. On the flip side, look at the people who are stuck, frustrated, and unhappy. It's not because the world is against them. It's because they made decisions that led them there. They chose procrastination over action. They chose to listen to fear instead of pushing past it. They chose to let their circumstances define them instead of taking control. Every decision you make, no matter how small, sends a message to your future self. When you decide to push through discomfort, to do the hard things, to stay disciplined when no one is watching, you are shaping a future where success is inevitable. But when you repeatedly decide to take the easy way out, to avoid challenges, to ignore opportunities for growth, you are shaping a future where regret is waiting for you. Most people underestimate the power of a single decision. They think they have time. They think they can keep putting things off and that eventually everything will work itself out. But time doesn't wait. And every day that passes is either bringing you closer to the life you want or further away from it. The question is, what decisions are you making right now? Are they leading you toward the future you dream of? Or are they keeping you stuck in the same place, repeating the same patterns and wondering why nothing ever changes? Rule 6, massive action is the cure. Most people spend their lives waiting for the right moment, waiting for motivation, waiting for permission, waiting until they feel ready. But waiting is the disease that kills dreams. The only thing that separates those who achieve from those who stay stuck is action. Massive action. Not dipping a toe in the water, not taking a few steps and then retreating when things get hard, but throwing yourself into it completely with everything you have. Most people fail, not because they aren't capable, not because they lack talent, but because they take weak action. They start something, they try for a while, but as soon as they hit resistance, they slow down, they make excuses, they tell themselves, maybe this isn't for me, or maybe I should wait until the timing is better. They let doubt creep in, and before they know it, they've stopped altogether. But the people who win in life, the ones who transform their bodies, their finances, their relationships, their success, they don't stop when things get hard. They don't stop when they're tired. They double down. Massive action is the cure for everything that's holding you back. Feeling stuck? Take action. Overthinking everything? Take action. Not sure what to do next? Take action. Action creates momentum, and momentum is what changes lives. You can't think your way into success. You can't visualize yourself into becoming the person you want to be. You have to move. You have to do something. And not just once, not just when it's easy, not just when you feel like it, but over and over again with intensity until it becomes who you are. The problem with most people is they hesitate, they second guess themselves, they overanalyze, and in doing so, they paralyze themselves. But success doesn't come to the people who stand still, it comes to the people who charge forward even when they're uncertain. It comes to the ones who are willing to look foolish, to make mistakes, to fail, and then keep going anyway. Because every failure is just a lesson, every mistake is just feedback, and every setback is just another stepping stone on the path to success. Think about it. When was the last time you went all in on something? Not half in, not 1 foot in and 1 foot out, but fully committed, no excuses, no backup plan. Most people never do. Most people never push past the point of comfort. But that's where success lives. The moment you stop waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect moment, or the perfect conditions, and just start doing, that's the moment everything shifts. Massive action isn't about small, safe steps. It's about bold, relentless movement. It's about deciding that no matter what happens, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times you fall, you are going to make it happen. You are going to push harder, move faster, and commit at a level that most people won't. Because most people settle. Most people quit. But if you refuse to be like most people, if you commit to action every day, no matter what, you'll wake up one day and realize that everything you once struggled for is now your reality. So here's the truth. There's no secret, no magic formula, no shortcut to success. The only thing that separates those who win from those who don't is action. Not someday, not when you feel ready now. Because every second you hesitate, every moment you wait, someone else is out there making moves, pushing forward, getting stronger, getting better. You have everything you need right now to take the first step. And once you take that step, take another, and another, and another. Keep going until there's no turning back, until action isn't something you do, it's who you are. Stop waiting, stop hesitating, stop overthinking. Decide, move. Attack. Because the life you want, the success you crave, the person you know you're meant to be, it's all waiting for you on the other side of massive action.